What is up, everybody? Chris here from Fake Sports News, back at it again with another video. Today I'm going to be giving a preview of what to expect this week in Division B of the Call of Duty Pro League. Just to kick things off, we're going to have Hot Mic with Simp, Octane, and Temp. It'll be interesting to see what Octane has to say since, of course, 100 Thieves won the last event, which was CWL London. Of course, our first match of the week, we'll see Denial taking on Team Envy. This should be a good match. I would expect Envy to take it considering the fact that they've been making serious improvements since they swapped Apathy and Assault for Decimate and Pharaoh back in April. I would expect them to take it either 3-0 or 3-1. To close out the day, of course, we'll see Enigma 6 taking on Splice. It'll be interesting to see if E6 has made any massive improvements since they made a roster change swapping Chino and Diabolic for GodRx and Jet Li. I think that E6 will take this game just because they have two young players who have proven to be up-and-coming stars in Jet Li and GodRx, of course, and I think that those players could help them really break into the top 6. Moving on to Tuesday's matches, we'll kick the day off with Denial taking on our defending CWL London champions, 100 Thieves. I'm thinking Thieves in this matchup. I see this being a swift 3-0 in their favor. They've been playing lights out for the last month or so, and of course, they won the major, so I would expect them to continue that momentum coming into the first week of their 2-week split of the Pro League. In our next match, we'll see Splice taking on Elevate, who made their way back into competitive COD this season by, of course, purchasing Accelerate's spot in the Pro League while keeping the same roster. I would expect Splice to take this match with a 3-0 simply because they've been a top 4 team all year long, and they'll probably be pretty hungry after having a lackluster performance at CWL London. In our next match of the day, we'll see Heretics taking on Team Envy. I would expect Heretics to take this matchup with a 3-1 victory because they've consistently performed well in the Black Ops 4 Pro League this year, but if Envy played to their full potential, they could definitely take this matchup. So it could honestly go either way, but I favor Heretics because of their previous performances in the Pro League. Our last match of the day, of course, we'll see E United taking on E6. I expect EU to take this matchup 3-0 just because they had a phenomenal showing at CWL London, of course making it all the way to the grand finals to face 100 Thieves, and they've been in great form since then. Moving on to Wednesday's matches, we'll be kicking the day off with Denial taking on Elevate. I favor Denial in this matchup since, of course, they picked up 4 veteran EU players in Joe, Bance, Rated, and Alex, and 1 up-and-coming North American player in Brack. So I would expect these guys to be Elevate either 3-1 or 3-2, depending on how these two teams match up and what kind of momentum they can build coming from their matches on Monday and Tuesday. I feel they're pretty much evenly matched for the most part, but Denial is just the better team, so I expect them to take the victory in a closely contested series. Our next matchup, we'll see Heretics taking on E6. I would expect for Heretics to win this match 3-1 or 3-2. I think this series could go the distance because both of these teams are pretty evenly matched, and honestly I think that E6 has a chance to take it if Heretics isn't on top of their game. Our next matchup will see E United taking on Splice. This will be a good matchup, but I favor E United because they're looking to be back in the top 3 after picking up Simp, who's on pace to be one of the breakout stars from this game. I see EU taking this either 3-1 or 3-2, but they could also sweep Splice if Clayster starts to hype his teammates up, which will probably happen since they're playing another top team. In our last match of the day, we'll see 100 Thieves taking on Team Envious. I could see this matchup going the distance as well since Pharaoh will likely be playing with a chip on his shoulder since he's playing against his old team. But I think that all players enjoy beating their old team to signify that they're still a top tier talent. With that being said, I'd expect Envy to take the search, but I expect 100 Thieves to sweep the respawns and take a 3-1 victory, unless of course Hook and his teammates can heat up. In that case, I expect Envy to win 3-2 in a closely contested series. Looking at our last day of matches for week 1, we'll kick things off with E6 taking on Elevate. I expect E6 to come away with a hot 3-0 here. They look to be a better team on paper, but you know anything can happen in COD, especially with the skill gap being what it is now, and the teams being so close. Our next matchup, we will see Denial taking on Splice. I expect Splice to take this with a 3-0, but Denial is a good team, so there's potential that they could upset Splice on a couple of maps, if not taking the whole series, if Splice isn't careful. Our next match will be a really good one. We will have Heretics taking on 100 Thieves. Coming into the week, these teams have the same win-loss record, but 100 Thieves of course holds a tiebreaker win, and that's why they're the number 1 seed. This match will be really important for seeding going into Anaheim, because if these teams tie on win-loss again, they'll look at the head-to-head tiebreaker and see who won it. I expect 100 Thieves to take this matchup in a 3-1 victory, but Heretics could obviously upset here since they have an avant-garde playstyle that can really throw the other teams for a loop at times. This will likely be one of the best matches of the week, so I highly suggest that you tune in. To close out the day, we will have E United taking on Envious. I expect E United to get the 3-0 here, or possibly a 3-1, depending on how well Envy play their S&Ds. Even though Envy has made tremendous improvements lately, the speed that E United play at since adding Sim to their roster is very hard for most teams to counter. That's why I favor them. They're a very dominant force in the respawns, and it doesn't look like there are many teams that can really hang with them, with the exception of course, Optic, 100 Thieves, and Splice, to name a few. Looking at my predictions, I expect 100 Thieves, Heretics, and E United to perform the best of all the teams in Division B this week, as I'm projecting 100 Thieves and E United to go undefeated throughout the week, while I see Heretics only dropping to 100 Thieves if all things go as planned. However, I think you should be on the lookout for Splice, Envy, and E6, as these three teams could potentially upset any of the top teams in this game if their chemistry is improved since CWL London. I think that this will be a very interesting week, so I would highly recommend that you tune into all the action. I have a feeling that one of the top three teams will fall out of favor this week, and while I'm leaning towards Heretics, honestly 100 Thieves or E United could fall out of favor if they underestimate any of the teams that are ranked below them. As I've said many times before, the skill gap is only closing in Black Ops 4, so there's more potential now for upsets than there ever has been in this title. I hope that you all enjoy the Call of Duty action this week. I'll catch you at the end of the week when I go over the results of this week's Pro League matches. Once again, this has been Chris from Fake Sports News. I hope that you all have a great morning, noon, or night wherever you may be on this beautiful planet, and I will catch you on the next video. Peace.